Hello friends, today I'm going to take up the topic simple, compound and complex sentences. These sentences are very important, especially for the IELTS students as well, along with like any kind of students who are writing essays, because more the variety of sentences, more marks it's going to fetch. Before I actually start with the topic, you must be clear about the difference between phrase and clause. So, phrase is a group of words that does not make complete sense in itself. Like if I say, in the corner, boy in red shirt, they cannot stand on its own. It doesn't make complete sense. Clause, especially an independent clause, it has two uh, components. One is subject and the other is verb. It is a must in a clause. These two components are must. So dogs bark, it makes sense, it makes a complete sense. Dogs is a subject and bark is a verb, so it is an independent clause. Coming on to simple sentence. Now simple sentence talks about one idea. It can have two subjects, means compound subject can be there. If I say Sudha and Suresh are studying, it is a simple sentence. Many of the students, they get confused that conjunction and is there and it will be a compound sentence. No, it is a simple sentence because Sudha and Suresh, they are just acting as compound subjects. The idea is only one which is talked about, that they are studying. So a simple sentence can also have two verbs, means like if I say Ravi is singing and dancing, Ravi is subject and singing and dancing are verbs. It has one subject and it is talking about a single idea that Ravi is singing and dancing. So a simple sentence talks about only one idea, and it can be imperative, it can be declarative, interrogative or exclamatory. So different kind of punctuation sign can be there when we talk about simple sentence. Now there are some examples of simple sentence, like I don't like milk. So I is a subject and don't like milk is a predicate. I was waiting at the park. I is the subject, waiting was waiting at the park is predicate, and at the park is prepositional phrase. So both of us will reach around 4 p.m. So both of us is the subject and rest of it is predicate. Now sometimes students are not even clear about subject. They think that only one word can be a subject. No. If I say a boy in a red shirt is my brother, so it's not a boy that's going to be subject. A boy in a red shirt, the whole will be the subject. This is how it goes on. Mm, Pavrita and Akhila are best friends. So Pavrita and Akhila, they are the subjects here. It can be, you can say it's a compound subject. So the dogs were barking. Subject is the dogs, not only dogs. So subject can be more than one word. The dogs, and word barking is a predicate. The best way to look out for the subject is something that is before a verb. It can be an auxiliary verb as well, right? So there we come to know where the subject is. Now coming on to compound sentences. So it's very easy. Compound sentence, it has two independent clauses joined by coordinating conjunctions. Now independent clauses, the way I already talked about, an independent clause must have a subject and a verb of its own. So these are actually two clauses which can exist on its own, like two sentences, you can say they can exist on its own and they make a complete sense on their own. The only thing is that they're joined with the help of coordinating conjunction, and that makes it a compound sentence. So there are 7 coordinating conjunctions. So the best way to learn all these is through an acronym. You can say fanboys. So fanboys, F stands for, A stands for and, N stands for nor, B for but, or for O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. So example of fanboys, I have put it here. You can say example is for to show reason. She bought a mango for she was hungry. No, she bought a mango is an independent clause where she is a subject and bought is a verb. For is coordinating conjunction. She was hungry can exist on its own. So she was hungry and she bought a mango. These two are independent clauses just joined by a coordinating conjunction for. So it is a compound sentence. Similarly, and is used to add information. Desiree lives in Alaska. Now, Desiree is a subject, lives is a verb, so it is an independent clause. It can exist on its own. Desiree lives in Alaska. And if we talk about another independent clause, she is park ranger at the national forest there. Now, she is a park ranger. That again, the whole sentence can exist on its own. So, the only thing that has joined these two independent clauses is and. And you can see over here the punctuation mark, comma, right, before the conjunction. So, wherever you are talking about these coordinating conjunctions, wherever you are using, before that you need to use a comma. That is the rule of the punctuation. So, nor is used to add negative information. He does not enjoy eating vegetables, nor does he enjoy eating fruit. So, it he does not enjoy eating vegetable is a separate independent clause which can exist on its own. uh, he does not enjoy eating fruit is again an independent clause. So it has been joined by the word nor, by the conjunction nor, in order to make a compound sentence. Similarly, but is used to show contrast. The test was difficult, but everyone ended up receiving a passing grade. So both are independent clauses. The test is a subject here, was is a verb in the other, so it is independent clause. Everyone is a subject and ended up receiving a passing grade. This can exist on its own. So similarly, or is to give a choice. We can see a horror movie or we can see an action movie. These both are independent clauses joined by the conjunction or. Yet, to show concession or to contrast, the test was difficult, yet everyone received higher than a C grade. So both are independent clauses. So is used to show result. I was broke all week, so I had to eat top ramen for every meal. So, so is used to show result. Consequently, what happened? So, fanboys, wherever you find fanboys, you can find it. It's easier to see that it is used as coordinating conjunction, but you need to see that they are joining two independent clauses. It should not be like if and is used to join two words that you think that no, it is a compound sentence. It may not be. It may be a simple sentence the way I already told you. So there is a rule of punctuation for it. When combining two independent clauses, you place a comma before the coordinating conjunction. Like the girl ran from her car to the building, comma, for she was late to her appointment. So we need to put a comma before using a coordinating conjunction. The bear snarled and growled, comma, yet the hiker remained calm and composed. So now coming on to complex sentence. it has one independent clause and the other is subordinate clause. Now, subordinate clause means dependent clause which cannot exist on its own. Subordinate clause, the conjunction used are in that case subordinate conjunction. Now, there are many subordinate conjunctions. So, Ravi got late for the school because he missed the bus. So, the main clause over here is Ravi got late for the school. It can exist on its own that yes, Ravi got late for the school, it makes sense. But if we talk about only this because he missed the bus, there remains something in our mind that what happened next because he missed the bus. It doesn't make complete sense. So this is a dependent clause because it has subordinate conjunction because. So I have put some subordinate conjunctions here. Example of subordinate conjunctions are after, when, before, as soon as, because, as, since, though, although, even though, if, unless, until, even if, once, while, then, till, now that, whenever, in order that, wherever, as though, as long as, provided, so that, that. All these are subordinate conjunctions. So here are some examples of complex sentences. As soon as Deepa reached home, she called to let me know. Now, as soon as, this is a subordinate conjunction. Now, this is a subordinate clause starting with subordinate conjunction, so it will be followed by a comma. Even though she had paid all the bills, comma, the system showed that she had some due payments to be done. So the first one is a subordinate clause and the next one is an independent clause. If you do not find it interesting, it is okay. So while I was walking across the street, I saw that the shops were closed. Unless she finishes the work given, she cannot go home. So she cannot go home is an independent clause. It makes sense if we just say she cannot go home. So before you make a decision, just take a second opinion. So before you take a decision is actually a subordinate clause. It is a dependent clause. Just take a second opinion is an independent clause. So though he was tired, he agreed to help me out. So he agreed to help me out is an independent clause. Though he was tired is a subordinate clause. She knew that there was a nationwide lockdown today only after I told her about it. So after over here like comes in the middle, so the subordinate clause comes after the main clause here. When you are done with it, let me know. So I think this place will not feel the same ever again since they demolished the football gallery. So whenever, for the punctuation rule, whenever you find that the subordinate conjunctions are used after the main clause, it will not take any comma. So subordinate conjunctions can be used in the beginning or middle of a sentence according to the position of the dependent clause. So when the subordinate conjunction appears in the beginning of a complex sentence, a comma is used after the dependent clause. When a subordinate conjunction is used in the middle of a sentence, there is no need for a comma to be used. So the dependent clause with a subordinate conjunction cannot stand by itself as it does not make a complete sense. So to summarize, it's very easy. Simple sentence will just talk about a single idea. In compound sentence, there will be two ideas talked about because there will be two independent clauses with their separate subject and verb. And the third is a complex sentence in which there will be one subordinate clause which cannot stand on its own, and one will be an independent clause which can exist on its own. So I hope you have understood. It is not that difficult. The only thing you need to take care of is coordinate conjunctions, that is fanboys, and then subordinate conjunctions. There are many that you can just have a list in your mind that wherever you find the subordinate conjunctions, it is going to be a complex sentence. Thank you.